Welcome into this week's episode of Let's Talk About It. I wanted to bring in Esrael Silva, who works with our football officials. What's your official title, Israel?
So I'm actually the president of the Amarillo football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials.
Okay, so I was talking with Clint, and we were talking about the football season, and he's been talking about the coaches and the players, and I've had friends that have been refs. It's been a part, and I was like, man, we leave the refs out so much. And I thought, man, I want to bring you guys in because you guys are seeing such a big shortage. And we can't have Friday Night Lights. We can't have all of that fun stuff that we all love about growing up here in the Texas Panhandle. If we don't have you guys on the sidelines making those calls, how big of a shortage are we talking about?
So we're currently down about, I would say we need about 150 officials
150?
To operate as to be comfortable, and then that's just on a heavy average night. We need 150 on it, and this is Friday night specifically.
Right, but most people forget you guys are still doing. There's junior high games.
Correct.
There's all kind. I mean, how many games weekly do you guys have to do?
So that varies. That always varies depending on.
Okay.
That varies depending on our teams. Are they playing in the Lubbock chapter? Are they in the Lubbock area? Are they playing in the Wichita Falls area? Are they playing in different areas? So that does vary. So as far as it just always, it just.
Okay, so I want to go back and kind of just talk about your story and how you got involved. You grew up in Hereford, and what made you you graduate from Hereford? And you jump right into being a ref.
I did. So coming out, my dad has been in law enforcement my entire life, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a cop or a coach.
Okay.
I loved athletics, and I loved sports, and I loved football especially. And my dream was to be an offensive coordinator for a 4A, 5A school. I wanted to call plays. I loved Madden. I loved NCAA football. So
I'm with you. I grew up that way too.
Right. So I really wanted to be an offensive coordinator, play caller. And as I started to pursue college and those things, I was also torn between law enforcement, and did I want to go to the police academy, and did I want to pursue what I'd seen my entire life, and that was my dad being a public servant, a police officer in Hereford, Texas. And ultimately, one of my buddies had been doing volunteer work and doing sub-varsity games in Hereford and in Friona and different places like that. And he said, hey, you need to come try this. And I'm like, and I had done some little league stuff, Kids Inc. stuff in Hereford, and baseball anyways. And I said, you know what, I might be able to try this. So we went and did some basketball games together, and I'm like, I kind of like this. And it was $20 a game, something like that, nothing crazy.
Yeah, you're not getting rich off this.
Right,
thing.
But it was extra cash as an 18-year-old right out of high school. And then we would meet other officials, and they're like, you need to join the chapter. I had no idea what the chapter was. I had no idea how our high school games were officiated. I had no idea how the Texas Association of Sports Officials, TASO, was even an organization. And as this thing began to evolve, I realized, whoa, this is such an organization that this is how Friday nights happens. This is how Tuesdays and Fridays happens for basketball. This is how Tuesdays and Saturdays or Fridays happens for baseball and softball. I mean, so it just began to evolve. And I thought, here's my here's my plug-in for athletics. I can go do this, and I can go be a cop still. And that's what I ended up doing. I followed my dreams, became a police officer. And I started officiating right away as an 18-year-old, and fell in love with it. Started doing football and basketball, and I've been doing it ever since.
So this is something you almost do kind of year-round, right?
I do. I've been able to do football and basketball almost year-round. I don't do a spring sport currently. My son has been, since he was 4 years old, baseball. That was his big sport. And so we didn't do a spring sport for the longest time, but so pretty much year-round, though. Yes, sir.
So here you are. Now you still have your career, so you're still kind of connected to law enforcement, but you're also doing the ref. You've been doing it now for over 20 years. I've always wondered, like, you guys, man, the people can get vicious with refs. I've been at games before, and I'm like, these poor guys, they're out here making $20, $25 a deal or whatever. They're not getting much. How is that? How do you get through all that?
Well, the great news is I don't get paid $20 a game anymore. That was little. That was
good
that was,
job.
right, that was little league
So
stuff.
what do they pay?
So we get paid roughly, by the time it's all said and done with travel, depending on how far we go in the Amarillo area, it's anywhere from $95 to $125 a game.
Oh, good. So you
So
get at least
it's
a
a-
Benjamin out of this. You're not
yes.
just like a couple of sawbucks in this thing. We're getting
Right.
some.
We do get some money.
substance there. Okay,
Absolutely.
good. So again, still not a
Right.
whole lot, but you guys, how do you? Like, man, I've always wondered how you guys have the patience, and you just tune it out. What do you do?
So I will say at the beginning it was tough, and especially being a police officer. That was, I mean, I was so used to not being yelled. You know, if I got yelled at, I could yell back, and that was so tough. And I'm sure there's some coaches that would absolutely agree with me, because I would bark back or want to get so defensive. But the older I got, or the more mature I got in officiating, I realized they were never yelling at me; they were yelling at the stripes. And the quicker that you can understand that. That they're not making it personal, the better off it was. And so, and you realize you're not out there for those people, and most of them are ignorant, and I don't mean that in a negative tone. I mean that they don't understand the rules. They don't understand that what we're really looking at. They don't understand that guy right in front of them is not really looking at what they think they're looking at. It's all about angles. You know, all five of those guys out there have a job on the field, and they're looking at different things. So you kind of learn to tune it out, and you hear it and you laugh at it, or you like it.
I like that. You have to separate the stripes from the person.
Right.
I'm curious. What is a call in football that most fans or people get wrong, where you guys are up there? You know, they'll make some whatever, but you're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about.
Wow. Man, there's quite a few little nuances that would make you think. Let me think. A lot of them happen like during punts and kicks, but I would say off the top of my head, pass interference.
Yeah.
So you know, in the NFL, if it happens 30 yards down the field, they put it at that spot. Well, in college and in high school, which we play by the NCAA rules in Texas, it's either a spot foul within the 15 yards, or it's a 15-yard penalty.
Within the 15 yards or 15. Yeah. So,
Right.
yeah, I could see that, because everybody sees it every Sunday, and they do it, and they think they're Ed Hockey out there, and they're not. So you started that 20 years ago. What's the craziest game that you've ever reffed where you were like, man, that was a game? Like, you were like, should I have paid a ticket to watch this game as a ref?
There's been a handful of those that we can go back on, but I've been involved in I mean, there was a couple of Amarillo High Tascosa games that I was involved in that were just dog fights, and you look up and you think, wow, I can't believe I got paid to be out here. And that's the joy of this profession that people, I think, forget about sometimes, that we have a better seat than the coaches, because some of us are actually in the middle of the action, not just on the sidelines.
You're there.
We're in the middle of the action, or so we have the best seat in the house. And I tell some of the younger officials, I go in there and I'll tell them the experience that I remember the most was walking out one time. It was at Dick Bivens Stadium, and I was a really young official, probably my third, fourth year officiating, and I got my first quote-unquote big game. And part of my job on the field that day was to bring down the visiting team captains. And as I brought the visiting team captains, there was 15,000 people in that stadium. And as I start bringing them down, that whole side begins to roar. And the chills that I got was like I was playing. It was like they were roaring as not for me. I knew it wasn't about me, but I got that same feeling that I used to when I would walk out Friday Night Lights, getting ready to hit that tunnel, or for us, it was a banner that we'd bust through, you know?
Yeah.
But I got that same exact, those emotions, that adrenaline, that, oh my gosh, I'm part of this. I get to be a part of this
It's an electric feeling.
Absolutely.
It is like, I always like, it feels charged.
Yes.
Like you walk into those events. And I remember when I used to do sports and I was on the sideline, the same thing. It just, you're in it and you're feeling this. I think for our people at home that are maybe watching this, if you're thinking maybe I want to be a ref, what kind of experience do you need, or you just train them up?
So that's exactly right. I would tell you though, first of all, you don't need any experience. We're going to train you up, and we've got.
Okay.
I feel like I would put our training program up against anybody in the state right now, and that's what's helping us continue to grow. That's what's helping us continue to be one of the best chapters in the state because of our training program. We're getting our young we call them the young guns, but our young guys and gals, and we encourage males and females to come out. But I would challenge those people, first of all, that love sports, but especially football. If you were part of it in any way, whether you had a child that played or whether you played yourself, and you excelled at it or you just loved it, and you think, man, I still want to be a part of it. This is the best way to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Because you can go watch it on Saturdays or Friday nights, or you can go to a game, but it's not the same. You can pay your $5 to go watch it,
Or you can get paid 100.
or you can get paid, and you can, not only do you get paid, but we're also giving back to it. Yeah. We're also keeping it alive. In all reality, we're keeping the game alive because, and I don't make it about us, but without us, it doesn't happen.
Right, you're part of the tradition.
It is part. Really,
you take the stripes off the field, you don't have a game. You just got a group of people.
Yeah, and
you're the part of it that makes it the game. I mean, again, you can't have it one without the other. So, in terms of that, you guys are always looking. How many people are in your chapter right now?
So we have 115 people right now. Like I said, we need about 150 is what we need. We have 115. Last we checked, we only had about 95 ready to go for this weekend. Roughly 85 to 95 ready to go.
What happens if you don't have enough?
We're dealing with that right now. We're moving games to Thursday nights. We're having to ask coaches to work with us, and they are. We're having to get games moved around right now, and it is what it is. It's just so that's why we're at the point we're at. We're aging out is what's really happening. We've had such a our older generation has been a part of this for so long, and they've carried this torch for so long, and they've done such an excellent job of showing us how to do it, and been such a part of the tradition, been such a torch carrier for so long. And these guys are, hey, it's time for us to move on. And as they age out, we're not having these younger guys step in, or we do have a couple of younger guys, and we have 2 to 3 guys step in, but we don't have the 10 to 15 step in that are leaving. So, and that's what we're continuing to see. And so that's why I say, those high school seniors or those first year or second year college guys or right out of high school guys that just got through playing, this is exactly for them that, man, I can still be a part of it, or man, I still have it, and I'm not playing at the college level. This is for them. This is, I encourage them to at least come give it a shot, at least come try it.
So what do they need to do? Like if somebody's watching this and they're thinking, hey man, I still have a love for the game. That's why I went into sports broadcasting. I mean, I still wanted to be a part of it somehow, some way. And for me, that was it. And getting to know the refs back then. And again, just being a part of it and knowing that you're keeping this big Texas tradition alive. So they just reach out to you. How do they get a hold of you?
So the best way right now is we have a website, and it's AMAREFS.org. And there's a information site or information page on there that you just fill out. It's a Google Doc and we have somebody that actually reaches out to you personally, will contact you, and will answer any questions that you have, and will.
So can you do, if you're like, look, I don't want to do baseball or anything else, I want to do football. Can you just do one sport or?
So this is specifically for football that I'm referring to, but we have the contact information for baseball, for football, for basketball, for volleyball, for all of us, for softball, for every sport. We can get you in contact with any sport that you want to get in contact with.
If you want to do football, this is the time. And again, we've got games. They are underway, and you can be a part of this great tradition. What can you think of? This is going to be a hard question for you. The number one game that you were able to ref that still is like you think about, you're like, I was at that game. I was there.
There was a Hereford Canyon game. Now, I'd been graduated for a few years, just so we clear that up. I'd been graduated for a few years. Parker Bridwell was actually the quarterback at the time, so that ends up being the MLB baseball, pitcher. I believe between him and the Canyon quarterback, I don't recall his name, and I apologize, but there was over like 15,000 passing yards in that game. It was something, or I'm sorry, 1,500. I apologize, 1,500 passing yards in that game, and it was just a back and forth shootout. And I just remember thinking, first of all, I was dead tired, but second of all, I was like, I cannot believe I was part of that game. And it came down to a field goal at the end, I believe, and it was just an unbelievable game. But there's a handful of games I think, wow, I was a part of that game. I was a part of a couple of Stratford Canadian dog fights.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
I mean, 10-7 ball games that just, wow, I was a part of that game. A couple of, Groover Canadian games or Groover Stratford games that just, wow, I was a part of that. And you walk off the field, and we walk off the field just thinking, we got to be a part of that. And just the fact that we were part of the Texas high school tradition.
And you get to be a part of a brotherhood because you guys are so tight knit. There's, again, you've got just over 100. You need 150, but you get into really having, if you're wanting to get connected, that's a good way to do it.
Absolutely.
Everybody else has their job just like you.
That's right. Some of my closest friends are absolutely football officials. My wife knows that if she needs help from somebody and I'm not around, as far as if I'm out of town or if I'm busy, she can call those guys and they're going to come help. They're going to come take care of whatever needs taken care of. But and the same thing goes the other way. But these guys we call each other brothers. I mean, we know that we have each other's backs because of the brotherhood that's created and the bond that's created. Because we look at each other as a team. Once we get on the field, it's just us 5 or us 7 against the world is how we look at it. Because we have everybody else out there is not going to be happy with us one way or another,
right.
One call or another. You joke.
You can't make anybody happy.
You can't make everybody happy, right? Yeah. But it's absolutely it's the best thing in the world. You can start at the high school level, and then we have guys that are doing small college football from Division II, NAIA, JUCO, Division III. There's a lot of us doing that right now, and then you can go up to the Division I, which we have a couple of those guys doing Mountain West and Big 12 level.
And we got one.
And then we have one in the NFL. Lo Van Pham is in the NFL right now from Amarillo. So the sky's the limit, and the younger you get in, the better. But it doesn't, as far as for that climb, but it doesn't matter. You get into it and you begin to fall in love with it. And I tell people all the time, it's a bite that you're like, wow, and you can't stop. It's just one of those things that you fall in love with. And it absolutely just becomes
what I'm hearing
enjoyable.
from you is that the money is whatever.
Absolutely.
It's fine. But it is being a part of something that's great. All right, before we sign off, one more time, how they can get a hold of you to be a part of this wonderful Texas tradition.
Yep, so amarefs.org.
All right, well, we appreciate you being here. Go over there and sign up. Again, can't have those Friday night lights or Thursday night lights, all that good stuff, if we don't have people willing to get out there and make those tough calls. Thanks for tuning in, and if you want to be on the show or you got an idea for this little thing we've got going on here called Let's Talk About It, reach out to me, ajustice@kmr.com. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.